Pacemates. This week we're going to be talking to James Macca, who on Facebook is known as James Fred Macca, for those of you who are trying to figure out where he's based. So James and I have been running together for, a few years now, probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
We first met at Parkrun. So this should be quite interesting. He's got quite a journey to tell us about. So tell us a little bit about yourself, James.
Okay, I am a Scottish immigrant. Come out here in 1963 with my family. My mum and dad decided they wanted a better life for us than what they could see in Scotland, and we chose to immigrate to Australia. They did apply for America, but thankfully, I keep saying thank you, they got accepted to Australia and chose to come here. Australia is a lovely country. It is really good. Not a lot to say about my childhood, except it was pretty hard, very harsh. A lot of years in West Australia. My dad worked on the railways, and railway camps aren't a good place for children. Very hot, dusty, dry. The schools are rough, that sort of thing. But eventually we moved to a city where we lived on a dairy farm for a few years in the Barossa Valley, and that was a good life. Eventually got married to, honestly, the love of my life.
Beautiful Hazel.
From the first time I met her, I always knew I was going to marry this person. People think, oh no, that you couldn't know that, but I did. I knew I was going to marry this person, and I knew it was going to work for us. When I asked her to marry me, I told her, be sure on your answer. I said, because where I come from, we don't divorce, we don't leave. I said, we believe everything can be worked out one way or the other. So,
and how many years of marriage?
We have been married for 41 years.
Yeah, wow. And how many children?
Just the one. Yep.
Grandkids, of course.
And we've got 2 grandchildren. My wife had a lot of difficulty with the pregnancy, and we chose to stop there while we had one. Another side factor, that deciding factor on that, was that in our family tree history, we thought it was a genetic disease very similar to muscular dystrophy.
Right.
I know of about 5 family members at that time that had it, and it basically, by the time they're about 21, they lost the use of their legs and just go downhill from there.
So you had one healthy child, you didn't want to
So we had one healthy child and decided that we didn't want to risk it. We did find out when they discovered how to map the DNA code that we had nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
They knew the gene was there, they know what the gene was, and we tested for it and found out I didn't have the gene anyway, so there you go. But we had a beautiful daughter.
That's right.
And
how long have you been living in the Redlands for?
I've been living in the Redlands. Daughter is 40 this year, and she was 13 when we moved.
Right. Okay. So very long time. Yeah. You've seen it evolve and grow and change a lot.
That's correct. Oh yes. The Redlands was mostly all farms when I moved here.
So James, what do you do to keep active and healthy?
Mostly run, but I go to the gym about 3 to 4 times a week as well. I believe in a certain amount of weight and muscle fitness. To keep healthy along with the cardio of running.
Yeah. Okay. How did you get started on your fitness journey? What started you on this?
I was sick.
Yeah.
Prior to 2013, probably about 8 months before that, the exact date I'm not sure, but I was at my doctor's. I was going through a real lot of depression. I was ill. I got where I was just having difficulty getting out of bed in the morning. Probably would be out of bed in the afternoon would have been a better term for it. I'd had to give up work because my wife was sick, and it was no longer viable for me to work full time. That was probably the root of the depression. And I was at my doctor's one day, and my doctor give me a really stern talking to. He said, you've got 2 beautiful grandchildren. He said, if you don't do something about yourself, he said, you're not going to be alive to see them grow up.
So how long ago was that?
Well, that was about early 2013, round about January,
Not that long
February.
ago, really. 7 years ago.
Yep. And like, yeah, they, sick with a good word for it, yeah. And on the way home from that doctor's office, we stopped at the Alex Hill shops to get some groceries, that sort of thing, and buy something for lunch. And there was this lady sitting there with a table in the centre, advertising the I Feel Good gym that was just opening up in Alex Hill at that time with a special offer. It was $10 a week to join with no sign up, no joining fee at any time. You could just say, I don't want to do it anymore, and they stop taking the money out of your bank. And I said to my wife, maybe this is a bit of providence here, you know. So I joined, and I've never looked back. I've done 6 months of gym, and I've done my first Tough Mudder. My trainer, Julie picked up her name was, and she was a lovely lady. She was a little bit older than me. She knew how to treat older people and get us on our journey. And she done Tough Mudder, and she had a few issues of her own, you know, and I sort of thought, well, if she could do this, I must be able to do it too. So I signed up and did it as well. And I've never looked back.
The rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
So the next question is going to be challenging, because I know you've got more than one thing that you've been very proud of in your 7-year journey, but can you just tell us about a few of the big things you've done as part of your fitness journey that you're really proud of?
Right. The biggest thing in my fitness journey would have been within around 50.
Yeah.
That honestly I felt was my best achievement. I thank people like Sarah and Sandy Kramer, Sarah Lane. They all helped train me for that. Sarah took me under her wing. She's an experienced trail runner. Took me under her wing, and then decided that not only did she train me, but she decided to run it with me.
Yeah, wow.
And help push me every step of the way. And I would admit that I went into that, even signing up, I had a lot of trepidation because I'd earlier just ran the Brisbane Marathon, the Gold Coast Marathon, my first one. And although I finished it, I wouldn't have called it a successful run. For me, it was disappointing. I had a bad run, and so therefore I was a bit really nervous about trying to do
50k with that much elevation.
That's correct,
What's that, 2,500 metres of elevation?
Something
over
like that,
50k? It's huge elevation.
It was huge elevation, And so I went into it with a real sort of like, okay, well, I had a bad marathon. How are you going to do a 50 attitude, you know? But Sarah pushed me, and I have to say, with the training, she was spot on, and I done it, and it was successful. It was a good run. I enjoyed the run every step of the way.
That's amazing. And you've done some pretty massive events, particularly over the last 2 years. You've done quite a few 50Ks now, haven't you?
Done a few 50Ks. I think once you do a big run like that, it becomes a little bit of maybe an addiction or an obsession or whatever. You just find that the shorter runs, socially, shorter runs are all great, you know. But for event-wise, I think for me it's just a case of, if I'm going to pay money for the run, I might as well get the benefit of a nice, good long run, you know. There's not a big deal, the difference between paying for, say, a 15k run and paying for a 50.
Yes, true. And I think too, you've stepped it up to needing that big challenge now.
The challenge, yes.
It's the challenge that you set yourself.
Every year you set a new challenge.
So tell us something that you think is important for us to know about you.
Friendship. If you're my friend, you're my friend for life.
Yeah.
I make friends easy. I like friends that, okay, you can have a disagreement, but honestly, I come from a family where we can have a really heated argument and 10 minutes later, let's go have a beer.
Shake it off.
Shake it off and have a beer. It's a gypsy way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's no grudges, no nothing for me. I don't hold a grudge. Friendships are important to me. My wife's an agoraphobic, and I'm the total opposite. If there was a word for it, I'm addicted to friendships.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you know.
And that's true with James. He's incredibly loyal as a friend and back you up, he'll be there for you. I've had you beside me at many long runs now, pushing me through and helping me get through.
And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
For me, it's probably, I get more out of helping push somebody new into their first long run and helping them get to that point in their life than I probably get out of it myself for doing the long run myself.
And thank you, James, because I know, I've learned a lot from you coming into trail running. You've taught me a heck of a lot about trail running and that I need to look after my body and listen to my body. And I know many others and pacemates have as well. So what you've given to us in the running community is something really quite special, and we thank you for that.
Well, I'd like to say the same to you. Honestly, like you started Pacemates and you put a lot of time and effort into it. You actually got yourself accredited as a trainer so that you can help your fellow runners. So that's a big achievement. And I personally said to my wife, I said, this is a very dedicated person. Yeah. And to be really honest, I think you're the person I'll be chasing in the future rather than the other way around.
Oh, we'll see if I don't break myself first. So James, I'm really keen to know what's your next goal.
Look, I still want to do a 100k event.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about it. I've had a few issues this year with Achilles tendonitis, that sort of thing, and I've come to the realization that I think the problem is the shoes, and I've got to get fitted for a different type of shoe. New Balance, unfortunately, like most brands, they keep updating their shoe, and then they come to a point where the shoe's no good to you anymore. I'm a pronator. I roll in when I run, and I've got no arch. And for people like that, the shoe has to be very specific. And if it's not exactly what suits your feet, you run and you end up getting all these little minor wiggles and these injuries. And you can do all the exercises and rehab in the world, but a bad pair of shoes is going to cause it to happen.
And that's such great advice. I mean, if you can give one piece of advice to a new runner, that's probably it, isn't it?
Pair of shoes.
Good pair of shoes. You can't just walk into...
And don't be scared if you've gone, go to companies like Athlete's Foot, and I'll plug them because I think they're a fantastic company.
And walk on their machines.
And walk on their machines, whatever, but in all honesty, go for your first run, and if they don't feel right, take them back.
Take them back, that's right. It's really good advice.
Yeah, take them back, because they will take them back. And they'll change them for you, whatever, I bought a pair of Gel Cayano about 3 years ago from Athlete's Foot, and I ran, and I got about 400 meters down the social run, and I actually had to stop, take them off my feet, and walk back.
Yeah.
Because they're just that bad on my feet, and yet, prior to that, I wore them all the time. So I would for some reason, shoe manufacturers, they don't seem to have the idea that, well, this shoe works, let's leave it at that. They keep wanting to upgrade, and I think sometimes they need to learn to stop upgrading.
Well, James, I know that you'll get the Achilles sorted, and I think you'll smash it 100k. I think you'll get there. And
I'll get there.
Sheer determination will get you there, and you'll get that 100k done. So we've just spoken about shoes. Is there any other advice you would give to someone who's just starting out on their running journey or fitness journey? What would you say?
Build your mental strength. So running in groups is a really good thing, but I advise anybody when you're going on long run, you want to do a long run, go do a series of mid run, you know, half the distances that you're planning to do, and do them on your own, where only person you're dependent upon is yourself, and you build your own mental strength to be able to go and keep running and just put that one foot in front of the other. And once your mental strength is up, your fitness is on.
Yeah, that's great advice. And it is true because, you know, we do run in groups so much of the time that when
And
you do go out to run
people
on your
depend
own,
on,
yeah.
you end up depending on each other a bit, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's good to get out there on your own
Yes.
sometimes and just run, and you're then fully dependent on you saying, oh, it's so easy to say, I could just walk there, there's nobody around me,
That's
nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
But you'll know.
Yeah, that's
And because you'll know, you'll keep going and you'll build that
But
mental,
it is that mental strength.
mental
And
attitude.
running is so much about mental strength. It's physical.
Running is mental.
It's probably 80% mental strength to just keep pushing through even when you're feeling tired.
My dad used to have a saying, if you don't mind, it don't matter.
Yeah.
And for running, that certainly applies.
That's very true. So James, is there anything else you would like to say while we've got you here today?
Yeah, I would like to say that probably the other most probably proudest thing in my life would have been my daughter.
Yes.
You know, when she graduated and got her degree, that was for me probably the proudest moment of my life. Watching her be born was actually the proudest thing of my life. It was unusual for our family, or at our time,
To be in the room.
for it to be in the room.
Yeah.
They didn't normally allow it, but I insisted. My wife was very nervous about giving birth. She had a lot of difficulties. She spent quite a lot of time in hospital off and on because of the pregnancy difficulties. So I insisted that I was going to be there when it happened and hold her hand and support her and whatnot. And yeah, to see that face, it was just, you know, I could never describe it to anybody. I think you have to be there. And, you know, every mother probably knows that feeling, but I got to know that the same thing as what a mother feels straight away. And I bonded well with my daughter.
Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of an insight into your world and for sharing some wonderful pearls of wisdom from someone who's been running now for a while. And, you know, we look forward to seeing you out there. And if you need a support group for that 100K, I'm there with you. You just need to let me know.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you hit these goals, James. Thanks so much.
No worries. Thank you very much.